During this project, I have been developing and enhancing individual pieces such as sculptures, garments, and paintings. The broad theme I was basing all of my ideas off was the grotesque and raw human body. Pieces that worked really well with what sort of atmosphere I wanted to create were going to be featured in my final piece. Before I really began to develop and solidify my ideas regarding a final piece, I started to create test videos of performance art which I especially wanted to incorporate into my final outcome, and I also developed a deeper contextual meaning to my work. The movements were inspired by the eerie and creepy performances of Butoh dancing and the unusual and unconventional movements of Yvonne Rainer, Lucinda Childs, and Deborah Hay, members of the Judson dance art scene of the 60s. I also began experimenting with green screen effects, overlapping videos, and altering the backgrounds. I started developing the context of my piece by researching into particular artists and reading specific journals. I immediately found my direction when I read about artist Polly Noor's work. She explores feminist themes and gender stereotypes through her cartoon-like drawings. I decided to focus my work towards a piece that questions the meaning of the word feminine, altering society's definition of femininity, one that means beauty and fragility, to one meaning unnatural, raw, grotesque, and perhaps ugly. This led me to research artists such as Tracey Emin and Sarah Lucas, members of the Young British Artists during the 90s. Tracey Emin's autobiographical and confessional work highlights that femininity is associated with loss. Her work also refers to deeper philosophical concepts such as lackism, a causation of desire. From my various experimentations, I chose 4 key pieces to include in my final piece. First, my Punxsutawney. This is a reference to the mythological Greek creature, the satyr, which is a half-horse, half-man creature that represents male testosterone and sexual aggression. My satyr, however, is female. I did this because sexual and general aggression is not a typical attribute that society has deemed feminine. My second piece is my dancer. She represents a spirit of the female form. Again, I question the definition of femininity with unsettling, eerie movements and with a bloody phallic mask. The third piece is a gender costume. It is a garment that has specific feminine features, such as breasts and ovaries, attached to it, in addition to a few limbs. It represents the physical anatomical features of the female. Some parts, such as the ovaries, have been enlarged in order to highlight it more. My last piece was largely inspired by Sarah Lucas's work with tights. She created body parts with the material and created an eerie feel to it. This piece is quite similar to the gender costume as, again, it highlights the anatomical parts of a female, especially with the excessive use of curves and soft surfaces. My idea for my final piece was to create a short video and a real-life set to go with it. Within my video, I wanted to incorporate green screen effects and also create a juxtaposition between reality and this distorted realm of weirdness and eeriness. To do this, I planned on taking shots outside, a natural environment, with normal female subjects, and film inside, an artificial environment, with my pieces. I also thought about referencing misogyny within art by having my subject pose as famous misogynistic paintings throughout history, such as Manet and Dali. My set would be there to complement the video piece and perhaps bring the distorted realm into reality for some viewers. This is a mini model of what it would look like.